two things you definitely need to focus on as a beginning real estate investor. You need to focus on the type of properties that you want to invest in, and you need to focus on the type of people you need to have involved in your beginning stages as a real estate investor. So let's look at the property types, all right? I'm giving you 5. We have commercial. This could be plazas, office space. It could be community centers. It could be storage facilities, warehouses, industrial. It could be trailer parks. Might even include some type of hotels. But that's what would be considered commercial. Multifamily commercial are properties that are 5 units, dwelling, housing units, or more. Anything that's 5 and up would be considered multifamily commercial. Multifamily residential would be the 2-unit duplexes, 3-unit triplexes, 4-unit quadruplexes. Those would be considered multifamily residential. Condo townhomes, these are family dwellings, but they're single family dwellings that are attached to other dwellings. Condos are attached, townhomes are attached. And then we have our single family residences or homes that most people live in. And these are detached housing units. So those would be considered the 5 types of investment properties. So you got to focus and hone in on, where do I want to get started? And again, you watch people like me on YouTube and follow people on social media, and most of the times they're at a phase or a place in their real estate investment career that they're probably doing a whole lot of multifamily commercial. They might be big on hotels or trailer parks or institutional sides, office spaces or high rises. But that's a next level of sophistication that if you ain't there, just keep it real. Be 100 with yourself. It doesn't mean you ain't going to get there, but what it means is, if I don't start there, I need to have a target that I can at least focus my attention on. And it's okay. It's okay if you're starting with small multifamily residential or 5 units or more, maybe up to 20 or 30. It's okay if you're starting with a couple condos because you're in an area where the Airbnbs work well, or it's by the water. Or it's okay if you're in an area where single family residences can rent well if you buy and hold them, or you can flip them. It's okay. What I'm saying is, you just got to get focused on something and build from there. But also you got to be focused and clear on the people. And when I say the people, what I'm referring to is, are you going to do it by yourself? I definitely don't recommend for you to do it by yourself, even if you feel like you are educated. A lot of people, they get mistakenly delusional because they take some courses, go to a couple seminars. You might be an avid reader. You might process information good, and then you just think you're the next best thing since sliced bread. But you do not have the real experience between entering a deal and exiting a deal. You do not have the experience. And you can't just think, oh, because I got a lawyer and a CPA, or, I'm a part of a online course, that it's going to work that way. It don't work that way unless you have a mentor and you're part of a community with people who are doing real deals, who understand the ins and outs from entering a deal to exiting a deal. There's a lot of moving parts, and depending on what type of investing you're doing, whether it's traditional or non-traditional, which we refer to as creative real estate investing, there are a lot of moving parts, and you need to make sure that you have a mentor, you're in a community. And another way you can start is as a service provider. My wife and I, we were fortunate enough when we first got started, which was like over 20 years ago. She was a real estate agent. I was a handyman. My father was a master carpenter, so I knew pretty much all the ins and outs of a home. I knew about electric, I knew about plumbing, I knew about floors, walls. I knew it all. I knew enough to be able to keep some business coming in if that's the route I took, right? But we came together as a 2-person team. We were service providers. We didn't have a whole lot of money, a whole lot of credit. We didn't have private money lenders lined up. We didn't have a whole lot of experience. We didn't have a whole lot of knowledge of the world of real estate investing. But guess what? We were service providers, and we started there. And that gave us access to sit at the table, to see how the seller was structuring the deal with the buyer, and how the buyer was getting the lending and what relationships they had with hard money lenders, or if they were using retirement accounts. And that led to buyers buying from sellers, and then sellers saying, well, help me buy, and then buyers saying, manage what I bought. And it just morphed into us being able to learn a lot of the ins and outs. Now, when we were sitting at a lot of these closing tables, do you think, we were just as excited as the seller or the buyer, especially if they were investors? We wasn't as excited as they were, because we saw on those settlement statements what they was getting paid, and we saw the commission that my wife was getting, and I might have been getting a little cut as the contractor, but we wasn't making what they were making. But we understood this was a part of the game. And so even though we're talking about over 20 years ago, we didn't have a real estate investing community. I mean, the social media wasn't even a thing then. We didn't have mentors. We had some TV infomercial gurus that would every once in a while come through Atlanta, do like a 2 or 3 hour seminar that was free, and then they'll upsell you at the end. But the courses and programs were so high, you couldn't afford it. You just take their little paperwork and leave. They just gave you enough to think about the possibilities of real estate investing. But nevertheless, we utilize our ability to be service providers to make a whole lot of people a whole lot of money. I mean, we've made our clients that we've worked with throughout the years millions and millions of dollars, until we were able to sit at a certain side of that table. And so now that we are the investors, the asset managers, the end buyers, we're fortunate to have the experience and also have a community to be mentors to people like you who are looking for ways to get in the game. So again, you need to focus on where. Don't feel like you're short selling yourself if you start at single family residences, because the logistics and the mechanics and the details of structuring deals, it's much easier when you're here than it is when you're up here. Even though the more experience you get, the more confident you become, the more courageous you find yourself, and you feel like you can take that on. But give yourself the wiggle room, the runway to at least try it a few times, to sit at a closing table, to understand the purchase and sales agreements, or the letter of intent, or to put a deal together and see what a title search comes back. And depending on how creative you are, if you're doing some type of owner financing or subject to, give yourself a chance to have the experience, even if it's with a mentor or someone in the community, because you might have credit and you might have a little money, and you say, hey, listen, I just want to get an experience. I want to get in on a deal just to get all the way through. Just don't think you always got to be at the end of the closing table as the end buyer, as the guy, the gal, the one who's doing the doggone thing. It's okay being a service provider at the table. It's okay not even being at the table, but maybe as a private money lender on the settlement statement. It's okay not even being on the settlement statement, but getting a little bit out the deal because you got a finder's fee or an assignment fee, or you JV'd and partnered with somebody, but you're on the LLC paperwork. So understand that the property and the people are the two most important things you need to focus on, especially if you're in the beginning stages of being a real estate investor. And this has nothing to do with the educational part. You got to be educated. You got to continue to grow and educate yourself. But if you can get all of this inside of a community where you get educated, you get mentorship, you get a community of people who are already doing deals, and the opportunity, the at-bat to sit at a table and be a part of the deal from entry to exit, that's the game changer, and it'll help you climb this ladder of the types of properties much more quicker.